Good to see you again, buddies. Hey, it's Concert Buddy. This week's video is a continuation of my record store road trip series. Found some time to get away to go to the middle of Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, and hit up one of my favorite shops in the state and then a couple of other ones that were nearby. Did I find anything cool? After the break, I'll show you. Let's go. So I bet you're thinking, Columbia, Missouri, where is that? Well, Columbia, Missouri is located kind of in between St. Louis and Kansas City. It's about equal points, so it's about an hour and a half-ish between those two big metropolitan cities. It's famously known as the home of the University of Missouri, Mizzou, M-I-Z. Main primary campuses there. I'm an alumnus of a different campus in that school chain in St. Louis. But Mizzou has a world-renowned journalism school, pretty good law school, solid athletic programs, that kind of stuff. They also have a pizza place called Shakespeare's that, at least in Missouri, at least in the burbs, in the metros, is kind of known. But what's not known about Columbia is they have one of my favorite record stores in the state. And I've talked about them on the channel before, and it's Hitt Records, Hitt Records. They are a smaller shop adjacent to where the campus is, but anytime I'm in town, be it for a sporting event or if I'm passing through, say, going to Kansas City or Kansas City to St. Louis, vice versa, I always try to stop in because Hitt Records is a well-curated shop, and I always find quality pieces there. And sometimes I buy stuff from them online, like last year through their Discog shop. I bought Marilyn Manson's Mechanical Animals. But this go around, I wanted to not only go to Hitt Records, but I'd heard some other shops in the adjacent area, one of which I had followed on Instagram. But let's start at Hitt Records. Let me show you what I got.
What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils?
First record I put in my pile at Hitt Records was this record. This is the 6th studio album from Too Short. It says Too Short, Short Dogs in the House. Too Short is one of the most famous rappers and MCs out of the Oakland, California area. Found this one, as you can see, in shrink, which is real nice. Got that sweet hype sticker. Got that nice parental advisory, because you know it's got to be fresh if it's got that. This is on the Jive label. And probably the 2 signature tracks off of this are on the hype sticker. That's The Ghetto, and that is Short But Funky. I think Ice Cube contributed a track to this album as well, and there's samples from like Funkadelic, I think the Dr. Funkenstein album, by Parliament, I should say, pardon me, and the Ohio Players. It's kind of like late 80s, early 90s, use a lot of that soul, R&B, kind of funk samples in a lot of their backing tracks and beats. But anyway, had never seen this in a while, so I was super excited to pick this up and put it in my Too Short collection.
Fucking A.
Next record I spotted at Hitt Records this is a reissue of the 1998 album Ray of Light from Madonna. I think they originally put this on vinyl in 2018, so this is a reissue, I believe, of that title. This one had several kind of, I guess, power hits for her, because obviously Madonna was really big in the 80s and early 90s. Always a Renaissance performer, changing her sound, changing her style, a chameleon of the times. And this one, obviously the title track, Ray of Light's big Frozen, was a really powerful song off of this album. It's one of those ones that I have a few Madonna records in my collection, but this is one that I had not added, and it's still kind of at general retail price. I'm not sure if they're going to reissue this again. Who knows? I think it's she's about to embark on, I think, her 40th anniversary tour or something like that. This is, I believe, if not the first, one of her first releases on the Maverick Records label, is an imprint of Warner's. She founded it with 2 other partners. The Maverick, the MAV, represented an initial of each of the members, Madonna being M and being front. But anyway, happy to put this one in my pile and take it home with me.
What is that? What is that?
The fire shoot!
So the last record I picked up from Hitt Records was actually kind of, I'd say happy accident. I'd kind of traversed the main floor. They do have records upstairs. It's usually kind of like my previous experience, more overstock. But they do have some audio equipment up there. They have, I believe, some turntables, some stereos, all that kind of stuff. And then they have like classical, they have folk music, and then they have like a discounted section. So since I made the trek up the steps, I figured why not check out, see what's in the discounted section. And this record, this is Homeboy in the COL. This is a 1982. This copy is not. This is a reissue from Record Store Day recently, but originally released 1982. It's kind of very indicative of the sounds of that era. There's a lot of keyboards and bass lines and just really good electro elements to the music. This album, if you kind of check on Discogs right now, the original goes for like stupid money. I think there's one out there right now for like $1,500.
Are you kidding me?
So, Daddy's not going to pay that for an original. But I noticed this came out on Record Store Day here recently, and it wasn't I think it must have been a late arrival, it must have been a late shipment, because I noticed it popped in after Record Store Day, which kind of piqued my curiosity. This is put out by Light in the Attic Records. They're that Pacific West Coast label that's done a lot of really good reissues, notably Sixto Rodriguez, Cold Fact, and his second album, which name escapes me. I'm silly, I have both of them. But anyway, long story short, this was like a $40 record, this reissue, considerably cheaper than the 1982 original, but still $40 felt a little rich. Fortunately, I caught Hitt Records at the right time. I got this copy for like $13. It was opened, I looked at it, ready to go. So for $13, definitely a record I was happy to take a flyer on, since I just kind of had a passive interest in it. So if I don't like it, I can move it on, but $13, why not?
Always check the facts, then you decide. That's a tip from me, Mr. T.
So Hitt Records was a good time. Like I said, I always try to stop there when I'm traveling through, be it east to west, west to east, from Kansas City to St. Louis. But I had heard rumblings there was another record store in town that I guess was a newer record store, and I did stop by there. It was called B-Side Records. Definitely a newer shop, smaller curation. It was decent. I didn't find anything here to take with me, but it's a place that if you're in Columbia with time to burn and you've already been to Hitt Records, got a few minutes, probably worth a stop. I don't know a lot about the store because, again, I kind of got it through word of mouth, but it's a shop worth checking out, if nothing else, to say you've been there. Like me, check. But in Columbia Metro, there was another shop that I was really eager to check out, and somehow years ago, probably around 2020 maybe, I saw on Instagram a shop called Theodore Records, and they're in Ashland, Missouri. I didn't know where that is. A little research on the Google machine, and found out it's about 20 minutes south of Columbia. So on this trip, I figured, why not I go check out and see what the store is that I've been kind of loosely following on Instagram for a hot minute, for a couple of years here. So took the buddy bus down south, and it's a very small town, Ashland. The actual shop, the King Theodore record shop, is actually nestled in a tattoo shop on the main drag. It kind of reminds you of like the Mayberry, the Old Town, kind of like, I wouldn't say town square, but just that kind of feel, kind of like where I'm from the country originally, so it kind of gave me a little bit of that feel too, where it was in a small town. Here's the main shops and businesses in town. Anyway, I visited them when they were just on the edge, the cusp of finishing a remodel, but they let me go in and check out the records anyway. Very nice of them. And I did find one record. Let me show you.
Sorry, we're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, everybody!
So the record I picked up from King Theodore was a later in the catalog release from Lee Morgan. This is Caramba. This was actually reissued recently. I don't know if it was a Tone Poet or a Blue Note Classic, but I say within the last year it came out. I did get a copy of that. But probably, if I'm grading it, probably overall a VG type of record. It comes on that nice Blue Note label. Probably help if I hold it up right. But when I found it in the sleeve, I mean, call it marketing, call it salesmanship, what have you. I mean, when it said must own, Sold. No, actually, it is a record that I think they have the price on it. Yeah, for $10. Again, another record worth taking a flyer. And I know, again, yeah, I'm talking about quality over quantity, but do I really want to buck up on a record that's probably not one of Lee Morgan's finest releases, as I'm holding a piece of plastic over the album? Probably not. I mean, this is one of those ones that for a starter copy for me makes sense. $10. I'm gonna give it a nice good cleaning. Had a little marks on the vinyl, but one thing that's always great about these is they have such bounce back that even if they have marks, they usually sound pretty good, light, maybe a light crackling in the passages between songs, that sort of thing. But when it comes to buying like older Blue Note titles, even if there's marks on it, I usually feel pretty good. But for $10, why not? Now, the big question is this a shop worth checking out if you're in this area? Again, I kind of what I said about B-side records, I would say the same thing, is that if you've got some time to burn, definitely not a terrible thing to go check them out. Thing is, being 20 minutes south of Columbia, if you're heading back, you're going to add that back to your commute just to get back to Columbia. So it added a little bit onto my return trek. But since I've been kind of passively interested in checking them out since 2020, it was a nice box to check on my list and be able to share with you that, again, if you've got some time or if you're in the area, why not stop by? Just another avenue to try to find some used records, and I can't complain when it comes to that. Woo! And buddies, that wraps up this episode version video of the Record Store Road Trip Columbia, Missouri edition. What did you think? Again, I'm being more intentional and deliberate with my purchases, so I didn't, have a big stack this time around like I've been prone to do in other adventures. But I think I picked up some decent stuff. What do you think? Did pick up some stinkers, some winners, somewhere in between? Would love to hear your comments. If you have any other questions about Columbia, Missouri, I'm not the Department of Tourism, but I'm happy to talk about Columbia, Missouri if you have any questions on that too. But buddies, man, I need to get back to the gym. If you get the chance to watch this video or my other Record Store Road Trip videos, like you should, just spin it. Catch you next time.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
Well, we out of time.